Okay, hear me out. I think that Gen Z is the most tired of life generation in history, but the weirdest thing is that technically we should be the happiest generation. We easily have more access to information than any generation before us ever had. More tools, more freedom, more ways to learn, to earn, and yet somehow a lot of us wait to overwhelm to actually sit and do something. Technically doing anything is possible now, and yet everything feels impossible. That paradox is basically the whole mood. And don't get me wrong, the obvious counter-argument is not stupid at all. People say, come on, life is easier now, we have phones, AC, medicine, comfort, safety, all that. And that is true. We are not living through the kind of survival horror our ancestors dealt with. But here's the thing, easier does not always feel easier. Sometimes when life stops being about surviving, it starts being about comparing, choosing, performing, and keeping up. And that can mess with your head way more. Because now the pressure is invisible. That is what makes it so exhausting. Nobody is standing over you with a stick saying, build a life by Tuesday. But somehow the whole internet is, you wake up and immediately see someone your age making money, traveling, glowing up, learning 5 skills, starting a business, and somehow also looking emotionally stable. So logically, you start wondering why your own life feels so slow, and the answer is not that you're lazy. The answer is that the scoreboard never stops running. And it is so bad right now because it is just endless. In the past, people you compared yourself with were at max to your school friends or cousins or the guy next door. And that in itself was already bad enough. Now you compare yourself to everybody, everywhere, all the time. One person is 21 and already rich. One person is 19 and seems wiser than a monk. One person posts a morning routine so perfect it feels fake. And the wild part is, even when you know it is curated, it still gets under your skin. Your brain does not care that it is edited. But here's the thing, nobody says enough. Gen Z is not just tired because life is hard. Gen Z is tired because life feels unfinished all the time. Nothing ever really settles. You're supposed to pick a career, have a personality, build and maintain a body, turn yourself into a brand instead of staying a normal human. Then you're supposed to keep it all up to date with the latest trends like you're an operating software. So the question is, when do you just live? And the answer is, weirdly, almost never. There's always another version of you being demanded, and maybe that is why everything feels impossible. Not because the tasks are always impossible, but because the mental load is ridiculous. It is not just go get a job. It is choose a job that has meaning, pays enough, fits your identity, won't bore you, won't age you badly, won't trap you, and ideally won't get eaten by AI. That is just an absurd amount of pressure for one person. And don't get me wrong, some of this is just growing up. Every generation thinks the next one has it weird. But our weirdness is extra weird because we live in constant exposure. There's no quiet corner anymore. Even your insecurities have Wi-Fi. You can be having a normal bad day, then open your phone and see somebody turning their whole existence into content, confidence, and income. That does something to you. It makes your own life feel like it's not enough, it's too ordinary, like a failure, which is insane because boring is usually where real life lives. And here's a random thought that sounds dramatic, but I swear it matters. Gen Z is the first generation that got raised inside a mirror. Not literally, obviously, but socially, yes. We are always watching ourselves from the outside. How do I look? How do I sound? Am I cringe? Am I behind? Am I interesting enough? Because trying means you can be seen trying. So logically speaking, a lot of people just don't do anything because they don't know what to do and they care too much. You want to do something, maybe start a YouTube channel, but then you imagine every possible outcome and the majority of it is just failure. You want to change your life, but the constant overthinking makes you feel humiliated, so you wait. Then you feel bad for waiting. Then the bad feeling gets bigger and suddenly the problem is not laziness, it is paralysis. But here's the thing, I do not actually think Gen Z is weak. I think we are overstimulated while being undersupported, and too self-aware in a way that is both a gift and a curse. We can point down the problem and still be unable to fix it. That is terrifying, and maybe that is why even hope feels complicated now. Not impossible, just complicated. We do not trust easy answers anymore. We have watched too many 5 steps to success, people crash into reality. So when somebody says just work hard, we do not fully buy it, but we also know giving up is not the move either. So we live in this strange place, in the middle ground of being half skeptical and half ambitious. The strange part is that Gen Z might also be the generation most capable of seeing through the fake stuff. We know when something is performative, we know when someone is selling a fantasy. We know when grind is just burnout with better branding. And that awareness is bad, but it is also what gives us power. Because we all can point towards the shiny lie, but very few of us can actually come to terms with the truth. And honestly, the truth is that it is kind of hard, but not entirely hopeless. And all you need to do is just start.